this third day of February 2021. I was looking at the minutes. That was in January. But we'll call the meeting into order. And before we proceed with Madam Clerk, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Gammon?
Here.
Commissioner Gooch?
Here.
Commissioner McAdoo?
Here.
Commissioner Key?
Here.
Commissioner Buchanan?
Here.
Chairman Ketron.
Here. We have a quorum. Let me read our disclosure. This meeting of the Purchasing Committee is being conducted electronically pursuant to Governor Lee's Executive Order 16. I would ask for a motion that conducting the meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, welfare in light of the coronavirus. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion from Commissioner Gooch. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Key. Call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Gammon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo? Commissioner Key?
Yes.
Commissioner Buchanan?
Yes.
Chairman Ketron.
Yes. All right, motion passes. Next, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our January 19th, 2021 meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I've read the minutes and find everything to be in order. Motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Gooch. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Gammon. Call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cook? Yes. Commissioner Gammon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo? Commissioner Key?
Yes.
Commissioner Buchanan?
Yes.
Chairman Ketron.
Aye. Motion passes. Members, first on our agenda today is we have a report from Fixed Assets. Ms. Terranova, if you would please come forward. You're recognized in the well. Yes, ma'am.
This is for the surplus of the Sheriff's Office guns to have a gun trade of 2020 to 2021. So I have a full docket of guns that need to be surplus through them to be approved.
Okay. How do we surplus those?
They're going to present them to a company to give them a price on guns, and they're going to compare them. And whoever has the best pricing, they'll go through them.
Sure.
Yeah. And Chris Kaufman is going to facilitate that.
Okay. Serial numbers, everything is
Yes.
all intact, not scratched off or anything.
Know of.
Okay.
Is this something?
Yeah, I'd like for everybody to sign off on that, if you don't mind. So she has presented the list of these weapons. Is there a motion to declare them as surplus? We'll send this around for everybody to sign. Commissioner Key, you recognize?
Yes, sir. Just a question. The surplus is from confiscated weapons,
No, these are sheriff.
all from the Sheriff's Department.
I would assume they're
Yes,
not
they're all from
confiscated.
either seized or their personal.
Or both.
Or, yes.
Okay, they're both. Okay.
And what's the disposition of those?
They're just older guns that just need to, they're just not used as often, and there's better grades up there.
And they'll be
That-
sold as a whole quantity, not an
Yes.
auction, right?
It's just going to a company, they'll give them a pricing, they'll go to another company, give them a pricing. Whoever comes up with the higher bid, kind of like that in the auction section, except you're going to a company to get them traded out.
Okay, is it an approved bid process? Is it?
Virgil?
Is this weapons that they're going to trade to a Class 3 gun dealer?
Yes, I believe so.
That's normally they put the bids in on those, and the highest person, what they do is they get it might be that they're fixing to buy some more handguns or something, and you could buy $50,000 worth of weapons for 1,000 or so.
Yes, and they-
normally, and this has been done for years and years and years rather than destroy them.
Yes.
Now, there's probably going to be some that are not worth doing anything with, and that's a small few, but just rusty old shotguns or something. But these pile up real quickly over a period of time. So it saves the county a lot of money to do that.
Okay. Okay.
So Virgil, I understand, I've seen those go to a surplus auction before, but That's not what this is going to be, right? This is just a bidding process?
We'd prefer going through a Class 3 gun dealer, and that way, if they resell them or something, it's on them. We would not want to do, an auction ourselves to get, to sell weapons, because you just never know where they're going to be used at. And I don't think the county would want that reflection back on.
I don't think we want that liability if a serial number that we sold ended up in a criminal investigation. Okay, let somebody else take that liability, right? Okay, any other questions? Okay, is there a motion to accept this fixed asset for turnover?
So moved, sir.
Have a motion from Commissioner Gooch, second Commissioner Gammon. Any further questions? Changes or deletions? Call the roll, Madam Clerk. Please give that to Virgil.
Cook?
Let each one of them sign it.
Yes.
Commissioner Gammon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo? Commissioner Key?
Yes.
Commissioner Buchanan?
Yes.
Chairman Ketchrin.
Aye. Thank you. As soon as everybody signs that, then you can take that and give it back to Laura.
For a copy and then
Okay.
we'll put that
All right, get it back to Laura. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Commissioner Ketchum,
Yes, sir.
do we have an approved list of bidders on that? Is there one already established?
Sheriff
Denise.
Kaufman is working on that.
Okay.
He's supposed to take care of that for me.
Okay.
I can be a part of it if this commission would like that. I've
I'd
never
like to
done
see
that before.
who
so-
bids on there. I think that'd be
Yeah,
interesting.
it's whoever they go through that have been in years past. Chris
Okay.
Kaufman has, or I'm not sure his title over there.
Virgil, what's Chris's title?
I'm sorry?
Is he a lieutenant? Okay.
Say
He's
lieutenant.
Lieutenant is,
Okay.
he's over this.
I'll reach out to him then.
I don't know how many years he's been here. Do you know?
Normally, when they do the bid process, they're going to come back in front of the Public Safety Committee to inform them of that.
Yeah.
And what they accepted. So without the county knowing, in other words, there's going to be a list of bidders, and the mayor will have to sign off on it on top of that. And so it can be, it's scrutinized, so I mean, you can be sure to see it's not just one bidder.
Yeah.
At that
I was just
time.
curious as to how many we have bidding on it and who they are. I guess that'll come up.
Normally, it's your bigger Class 3s that do it. I mean, I can't think of the name of them right now, but.
He didn't
you've
give me a
got-
list,
yeah, you've
but
got
I can
three-
get that information if
yeah.
you'd like it.
Yes, that'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I mean, they're normal weapons dealers.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
You want me to give that to you tomorrow? You me give that to you tomorrow?
Yeah, and I'll get, you can give his email.
Yeah.
And that way I know.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but I can give all this back to you tomorrow then. Is that okay?
All right. Get it and just, once he signs it, you can give it back to Laura Denise, and we'll continue to move on under the agenda. So last time, members, we took 2 items under advisement. First is the medical examiner's office with EMS. Director Hudgens, Denise, if you'd like to come forward. Thank you. Members, if you remember, last week we opened, or last meeting we opened bids concerning the facility out on Salem Pike, and we had 2 bidders, and I believe we took it under advisement at that time. Denise, you've gone back, I would assume, and scrutinized and compared like for like of what you feel that the EMS department needs. So I'll turn it over to you, and you can, our director, you can tell us your decision.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, we did actually request a breakdown from Peary since they had just given us a total figure so that we could look at the line items side by side and make sure that both bids had appropriately covered everything that was in the scope of the RFP. After following us doing that comparison, we did recognize that CIC still were more in line with our grant funding allowances, so we would seek the committee's approval to move forward with accepting CIC's bid at this time.
Okay.
Now,
So,
I have a question.
yes, sir.
I looked on their estimate, and they had it seems it was $6,000 for fees at the end. Did they identify what those fees were for?
In generalities, yes. Obviously, when Laura and I sit down with the company to go and flesh out that contract, we will go through that in a little bit more detail.
Okay.
But,
it just seemed very generic
sure.
to have a chunk of $6,000.
Right.
But they did come in quite a bit. And your grant was for 75?
The estimate for the remodel, yes, was around 75,000
And they were
based on the
70
quotes we'd had at the beginning, and
Okay.
they came in around 72.
72, yeah.
We did want to give consideration to Peary to see if there was something that CIC hadn't bid on, or if there was some other type of quality issue. And we certainly do appreciate Peary's time and contribution to that bid process, but they were considerably higher on several items. Therefore, we
saw that.
decided to go forward with CIC. Thank you.
So, members, other questions? Otherwise, I'll entertain a bid to accept the recommendation from EMS as to go with the low bidder.
Move to accept.
Move for adoption, and a second. Any further
I'll
questions?
second it.
Veronica,
Yes, I'll second it.
you got a second? All right. Madam Clerk, if you would please call the roll.
Yes. Commissioner Gammon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo, Commissioner Key,
Yes.
Commissioner Buchanan,
Yes,
Chairman Ketchum.
Aye. Motion passes. Award will be given to CIC. Congratulations to CIC if anybody's watching or here. Okay, thank you all. Next, members, we have item number 2 that was taken under advisement, the Medical Dental Vision Risk Management Department. Mr. Elam, if you would please come forward, and I believe you're bringing Mercer with you, who did the evaluations and breakdown. I'll go ahead and share with you that after this was taken under advisement, this did go to the Insurance and Risk Management Committee, and they made a recommendation as well, but here it is back before this board.
Yes, sir. So you have a spreadsheet in front of you that Mercer has put together, and Jay Brown's going to step up here and go over. If you remember when we opened it up, we had folders from one end to the other with all the different bidders, and so in trying to narrow it down to the numbers and the difference, getting things apples to apple, they've put together this spreadsheet for the medical, pharmacy, stop loss, dental, and vision. So, Jay?
Thank you, Mr. Elam. So, a lot of numbers on the spreadsheet. Essentially, if we kind of look at the top are all the different binders that we received or carriers. The current is Cigna. They're proposed as the second column. Then we had proposals that we reviewed from Aetna, Blue Cross, Humana, and then Lucent Health. Also, as we look at this, at the top are more of the fixed costs, the administrative fees, so those are fixed dollars. And then we did an analysis at the bottom, towards the bottom of the claims projections and the discounts. So when we look at this is the medical front page, and the dental and vision's on the back. We'll cover that in a second. But really, when we look at the top and we go across each column, you can kind of see that the fixed costs include things like network access fee, utilization management, claims fiduciary, disease management programs, wellness initiatives, communications, all the things that encompass the medical plan. And then if you look down in the blue section, we kind of highlight that. Today, for these costs with Cigna, you're paying almost $2.4 million in fixed cost each year. Cigna has been your administrator for 10 plus years. They did take this bid very seriously. We rarely see this in a lot of examples where even after being a partner for this long, that they did come in and reduce their cost. Granted, almost $37,000, 2% total cost, but that's still a big deal. And then when we look at the other vendors that we reviewed from a fixed cost perspective, you've got Aetna coming in at $3.4 million, 3.2 from Blue Cross, 3.7 from Humana, and then Lucent over $4 million. So significant increase in fees, which are guaranteed fixed costs. So what we also looked at is we asked for a 5-year contract. So with the contract, it's guaranteed for 3 with the option to renew 2 1-year contracts. And so we wanted to look at that over the course of the 5 years if we chose to implement that at the end to make sure the rates weren't escalating or there wasn't anything on the back end of the contract. So you'll see at the bottom where Cigna pretty much kept the same thing. So over the course of 5 years, we would save almost $200,000, and then those numbers from the other obviously go up even more than what it is today. So from a fixed cost perspective, it makes sense to stay with Cigna. Now, that's just one piece of this. What we also wanted to look at is claims. So claims, as you'll see in the right below the blue, the fixed cost may be 2.4 million. But on the medical side, Rutherford County pays almost $50 million in claims. And so what we also wanted to do is we did an analysis with Mercer's calculators to say, what are the discounts? What's the negotiated arrangements with the hospitals and the physicians and the ancillaries with the other vendors to make sure that maybe we're paying more in fixed costs, but do they have a better negotiated price with claims? And so when you look across there, you can see Aetna would be the closest that we were really kind of honing in on from a claims perspective. If Cigna's paying $50 million, Aetna's at $49.3, which is about $650,000 less. Blue Cross is about $500,000 less, and then the other two, Humana's $500,000 more. And then Lucent actually uses the same network as Aetna, so they have that same discount there. So when we compared the two, say, for example, with Aetna, you might save $650,000 in claims, but in that first year, you're going to pay over $1 million in fixed costs. So when you wash that out, it's still more than staying with Cigna today, and we're also getting a lower price. As for the pharmacy, we looked at the pharmacy more to make sure we're looking at dispensary fees and discounts. But really what we decided is due to the disruption in the pharmacy vendors right now, we want to make sure that we're picking the right medical partner for the next 3 to 5 years. And as the pharmacy starts to get a little bit better, Cigna's purchasing one, Aetna's purchasing another, we want to come back and do a pharmacy analysis potentially in 3 years and say, all right, if we stay with Cigna, let's specifically look at the pharmacy and make sure we're getting all our savings there, because I know we've talked about that in the past. But for now, what we're proposing and what was approved by the Insurance and Risk Committee was to remain with Cigna for the medical, the stop loss, and the pharmacy on this page at the lower price. Before we turn the page to dental and vision, because that's a little bit easier, I know this is the bigger numbers and a lot to kind of take in. Are there any questions on the medical page?
I have a question. Define the wellness credit. What did you see across the board on that?
Yeah, good question. So today, that's another example where today Cigna provides $40,000 in wellness credits and then another $15,000 in communication credits. And then they also provide above that Motivate Me as the platform. If you're familiar with the program today, you have to have certain points to get the wellness credit. Well, the platform that manages that system, Cigna provides as part of the fee as well. And if you go across there, Cigna is increasing both of those. They're continuing the platform, but they're raising the wellness to $70,000 and communication to $30,000. And as you go across, that's better than any of the other competitors. So that's another point. That is an additional benefit.
So that's preventative. That's what they're doing too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
And the cost down here, that reflects those credits?
No, actually, I believe we left, this mainly just reflects the fees above. So when you look at the top, it's a little complicated, but when you look across the top, Cigna has three different rates depending on the plan. Aetna just proposed one. Good question, though. Blue Cross does show a range between 28 and 40. We took their average range just to kind of be in the middle. And the same thing with the other two. So when you multiply that information up at the top by the rates, or by the enrollment over to the left, if I'm not mistaken, that's how we came up with those numbers. I don't believe the formula includes the credits for the communication and wellness.
But it's still the best.
Right.
credit
Still,
for Cigna.
it wouldn't change the result.
Other questions from Mercer?
One other question.
Right.
So on these full-time coordinator, consultant, are those currently active with the program we have now?
Yes, so today, COVID's made it a little different, but on site, typically we had two, the coordinator and the engagement, and then there's one that's telephonic that's available. So three full-time employees that the county has available to them through Cigna, that's included in the pricing.
Those are Cigna employees?
Cigna employees.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. And that would stay the same?
Correct. All right, if we turn over, we did bid this out, all three, so medical, dental, vision. We did offer that the vendors could select, hey, you could just pick the dental for this or the vision for that. But fortunately, today you have all three of those together with Cigna. It's one ID card, it's one enrollment file. So there's a lot of ease of administration there. With the dental, Cigna, you're paying $2.80, and it includes the network access fee. Their proposal is $2.50, so a reduction of about $15,000, $16,000. I would note with the dental and vision, the members pay the total cost of these benefits, so the county doesn't pay anything, they pay the full price. So, even though it does go from $280 to $250, that's a 30-cent different per month that the member would see the full savings of that. When you go across, it was the same vendors that's before, except with the exception of Delta Dental, who did put a proposal in for the dental, came up a little higher in this example. But the one, once again, similar to the medical, we did look at Aetna, because Aetna did come in on their fixed costs about 18% below, whereas Cigna's revised quote is only 11%, so there was a difference there of about $10,000. So similarly, what we did with the discounts with the medical, we ran a dental disruption analysis, which would say, all right, if everybody that currently uses X dentist today in network moves to Aetna, would their dentist be in the network with Aetna? And there was an almost 20% fallout in dentists with that. So kind of the recommendation we had with the Insurance and Risk Committee was, yes, there's a little bit savings, $10,000 savings a year to move to Aetna, but the disruption, typically what we see with members is they're pretty tied to their dentist and they don't want to change their dentist. So that 20% fallout's probably not worth the 30 cents per month saving that the member would see. And so the recommendation there was to stay with Cigna.
It's about 792.
It was,
Yeah. The disruption's about 792 members, employees, on that 18% fallout.
1801 on the other one? Okay. I think you were going to ask a question.
So the savings we're seeing on the dental are to the members, and then the savings we're seeing on the other is to the county?
A combination. On the medical, the employees pay a portion and the county pays a portion,
Okay.
whereas the dental and vision, the county pays zero and the
Okay,
members
so
pay.
that would be all savings just to the members?
Right.
Okay.
Mr. Gucci?
Thank you. Did you happen to do an fallout analysis with the other,
The medical?
the other dental companies like Delta, Humana?
We did not, only because their cost was more. We didn't look at that for them. We were just trying to make sure if we decide to go with the lower cost of that, would there be any other things we need to make sure we're talking about? Typically, I would say, Delta would be the one. I'm looking at this since they only provided a quote on this, but we were just kind of surprised at some of the difference in the cost there.
Other comments, questions? Okay.
And we did the same analysis on the vision, as you can see down there. I mean, kind of the same thing. The Cigna, the only difference there, it's 90 cents per month for the members. They pay the full cost. Cigna didn't propose any changes there. The only one that was close to that would have been Blue Cross Blue Shield at 65 cents. Overall, that is a $13,000 annual savings, but once again, to the member, that's only a 25 cents savings per month. So not very material out of their paycheck. And then even more so here, there was almost a 40% fallout in the vision providers, which I believe, Mr. Elam, you're saying that's like 1,800 members would have been affected by that?
Yes, that would be 1,800 members. You'd have to say their dentist that they have now is no longer in network, and they'd have to change. It's 39% fallout, and my estimations is 1,800 members out of the 4,618 enrollment.
I believe the insurance committee, Commissioner Gooch felt that with the disruption of 1,800 people calling you all, their commissioners and the mayor's office of going, I got to change dentist, it wasn't worth the small amount that would be taken out of their paycheck for the vision.
When they get one ID card, I mean, it gets more complicated if you had 3 different vendors. You're looking for your dental card and your vision card and your medical card. It's kind of nice. Things we don't think about because you've had them tied together for so long, but we've unbundled it and had some issues with that in the past too, so.
Because that happens so many times. Oh, I got my medical, and where's my dental? Then you call home and I left that one, and then you call Ed. Okay, comments, Ed?
I just wanted to add, the recommendation from the Insurance Risk Management Committee was to award the bid to the medical, dental, vision, pharmacy, stop loss to Cigna.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we accept the recommendation from the Insurance Committee and assign these to Cigna, medical, dental, and vision.
Motion. Is there a second? Second. Open for discussion. Commissioner Key?
Yes, sir. Great job on the comparison analysis there. I think we've got the good picture. My question is, are we happy with Cigna?
I am.
Satisfied, perhaps, not
yes,
happy.
and what I will point out is the full-time on-site wellness coordinator consultant and the full-time service consultant that we have. It is crucial that when we have a member, for instance, they're trying to get an MRI approved or something like that, instead of us calling Cigna and all that, we can push that person right to Cigna, and it cuts out us. I mean, we can just say to them, here's your person, here's a number, call us back if you have a problem, but we're going to put you right with the person who can answer your question, or we'll call you back shortly trying to get approval. Sometimes there's delays, and I'm not going to say whose fault it is, but most of the time, if that paperwork is sent and somebody says, I need an MRI or I need a PET scan or something, they have a real person. Before COVID, they could come in our office, sit down with that Cigna person, and get a lot of questions answered, get a bill looked at, and say, I don't understand this EOB. And the ones we have, I'm very pleased with myself. But I will say that if they were out of range on the price, I might be very pleased with the Blue Cross and Blue Shield person too. But for the most part, on the Cigna people, I'm extremely pleased, and I think they serve our members very well in answering their questions.
And it looks like with their discount, they're wanting to stay around.
Yes, sir.
Looks like they're kind of proactive about that.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Elam, we've been with Cigna 12 years?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I've been here 22 months, so I'm not sure I'm the right one to ask. That's that question. Mrs. Cook might be able to help us here, because she served on the committee at some time, didn't you?
15 years. 15 years. We've been with them 15 years, and there's a lot to be said to have relationships with companies, and especially it showed how much they like our business and want to keep it. They came in at the best rate out of all 5 and actually beat themselves over the last year's rates. I've heard Ed speak several times. There's a lady out in
Arizona,
in Phoenix,
Sarah McLean.
and she's just so helpful and can work.
She's a bulldog.
When we have a tough claim, Ed can call her and has that relationship, and she escalates and just takes care of things that on our behalf for Rutherford County, and that goes a long way. Somebody that knows us. If we went with one of these other companies, it's like getting to know, it's going into a new marriage. Well, I don't know if they put their toothbrush in the right stand or not. They know all about us. Cigna does. So I think it's a good move on our part. Commissioner?
I can say 2 cents worth here on that. Being a retired county employee, without getting into it, 38 years there, Commissioner McAdoo, but all the dealings I've had with Cigna and Risk Management Office is really, it's a bump every now and then, but your office always cures the problem. It's never been an issue. I mean, the answer's there, and being in the position I was in for 20-something years as the chief, you get feedback from employees, and there still be a bump here and there, but a lot of it was just a misunderstanding is what it boiled down to. And just like whenever you could go in front of a committee, and request the MRI or something like that, it's like whenever they come in and did whenever they do your stomach, staple your stomach, if you're overweight or whatever, that got approved through the process, and I think it probably saved a lot of employees' lives by doing that. So all I can say is a thumbs up to, well, you 2 guys up there especially, because I just always have seen the positive side of it. And the only thing I'm going to say I wish to see happen, I'm on Medicare now, so it doesn't matter. But I sure wish the pre-65 could get dental and vision at some point. It'd be nice, but maybe that's something to work on in the future. Maybe maybe I'm out of line saying that, but there you go.
Well, we could work on taking braces away, but you got to deal with a lot of young parents. But I'd like to see better too. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, comments? Veronica? No comments?
No.
All right.
No.
Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner Cook? Yes. Commissioner Gammon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo? Commissioner Key?
Yes.
Commissioner Buchanan?
Yes.
And Chairman Ketron.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Members, we have one more item. It's under other business I'm going to bring before you because this has been happening so quickly. Lisa, you can start making your way up. Let me just go ahead and lay this out to you. We have and are currently participating. I made the decision that we were going to do this one way or the other. But the U.S. Treasury has offered an emergency rental assistance program grant. We are one of 4 counties in the state. Davidson, Shelby, 5. Davidson, Shelby, Knox, Hamilton, and Hamilton's out? Okay, so it is back to 4, and Rutherford. It's those cities that went over 200,000 in population. And what this rental assistance program does, we will be awarded and have been awarded, it's already downstairs in the bank account with Ted Beatty, $9.9 million. It's going to allow us the opportunity to take care of rental assistance and utility bills for those during this pandemic who have not been able to pay their rent or utility bills. And this will allow those people to sign up. It was a tough decision to make the decision whether we're going to get into it, because to administer in a short window between now and September, that's almost $1 million a month in payments. Now, they're not going to be standing in line and we're going to be handing them a check, because there's safeguards there. We'll be working directly with the landlord and the utilities. Am I correct? So that's where the payments are going to be. We were able to locate a company. We started to partner with THDA in Nashville. And so I was able to press hard on Mr. Perry, who's the director of THDA, and found out that who they were going to work with, because I knew, having been in the Senate and passing their budget, they didn't have a staff large enough to handle this either. You know, it's going to take a lot of people, probably 10 or 15 people just to handle it. So it's Horn Incorporated. It's a company that we had worked with before, I believe, Rutherford County, Reba said, in handling some of our grants. I'm sorry?
If you don't mind me.
Yes, yeah, you can jump in and explain Horn.
Okay, so the way that we are, how we worked with Horn is the state of Tennessee, with all the coronavirus money, contracted with Horn LLP to help them administer all the money that was coming through the state. So how we got involved with them is because that was the organization that we had to go to get to prove to them that we expended our first allocation, which was what, $5 million? And so that's how we were. We were proving to them that we did make the expenses and we had to provide to them. I felt comfortable working with them on this project, knowing how much responsibility they had on us to prove that we did pay our expenses. Now, I looked today to say how did the state contract with Horn out of other people? I spoke to, what's his title?
Assistant Commissioner.
Of
Finance.
Finance, okay. To ask him, how did you get Horn? And it was through an executive order, kind of an emergency. But they had 4 people that came to the table to help the state, not just on this, but any kind of coronavirus money that they got. And the committee consensus was to go to Horn. So Horn is working, it's where you hear their name come up. As the mayor said, THDA is working with Horn. Horn is working with the state to provide all their money. You got that? So.
Okay, so when I found out that Miss Anna Strobel was the contact, she's actually a partner with Horn, and made contact, and I said, are you willing to work with us? And she said, absolutely. So we had a conference call with her, got to know who she was. Reba then recognized her because she had taught at some other conferences Reba had been to and felt comfortable with that. Because here we are, we've got the money, came in immediately, within a week we get the money, and we were all nervous about, okay, how are we going to put this together and how are we going to get it to our people? Because the most important thing is making sure that we can take care of their light bill, your utility bill, or their rent for single-family dwellings or their apartments or whatever it may be. It's not for homes. It's not going to pay for mortgages. It's for rent only. We're looking for a launch date of 3/1 to make it concurrent with the state of Tennessee launch date. So Ms. Strobel said, we will take care of it. They'll have about 15 people assigned to Rutherford County alone that will be working with our landlords and utility companies. And then we will be the face. So they'll be in the background, be non-transparent. Nobody will know it's Horn. So we will get Ashley McDonald. She will start connecting with community partners, churches, St. Clair Senior Center, everybody that we can to get the word out, because that, like I say, it's $1 million a month that we've got to spend by September. But I felt that was so important because so many people are struggling, that if we can just pick up 2 or 3 months of rent that helps buy food to put in the refrigerator for some of their families. If they're a single mom, single dad, or whatever, this can help. And I wasn't going to let this get passed up, and because it's money, it's going to be given to somebody. It's got to be spent, so we're going to take it. So we'll do all the face work, It'll be Rutherford County. We've got to get permission tonight from you all that we accept this money, even though we got it already, that we move forward
On
to
that-
sign the contract.
On how this moved so quickly, January 8th is when the county was notified that funding was available. January 8th. And we had to make application by January 12th. So, I mean, it was
We were in a panic.
it was a
Like-
quick decision of whether,
But I said, we'll find a way. I'm not going to pass up $9.9 million. We'll find a way to get it. I'm going to let another county get it.
but there was a difference too. I mean, when you talked to THDA, how much they were going to charge.
Well, yeah, THDA did call me, and I've known Mr. Perry for some time because I used to pass his budget when I was chairman of state and local, and he said, we'll handle all that for you. And I said, well, I don't think we have a staff that can handle it. And so once I found out that I could go around him, he didn't like it because what was going to happen is it would go through him, he would siphon off, because there's a 10% fee that's out of
Of this money we-
of this 9.9 million, there's 10% can be used for administrative purposes, so that's what Horn will be. We negotiated a rate. I got a rate from her at 4%. She's going to charge us. And so Mr. Perry's going to charge us 5% for passing it on and doing what we've done. So that's another 5% of the $10 million that we're going to be able to use of giving it to our citizens. So that, I'm sorry?
Nobody yet.
Nobody.
Nobody
No,
yet.
no. We're going to launch it. We'll
No,
launch it. Yeah.
no.
We've already had people calling Ashley. She had 3 people yesterday that called her, and she was freaking out because somebody in Nashville had given her telephone number out, and she was almost in tears. She goes, I can't, they're going to crash my phone. And I said, just call Mike Perry and tell him that, take your name off of that, because somehow it got out to the news media. But this is going to be a good thing for our community, and thank God that we have this opportunity. Other communities don't. Virgil?
Just out of curiosity with this, I know that there's a system that's going to have to be put in place to the renter and the rentee in that sense, but would this also cover people that, due to COVID, for instance, have already lost a job? They may
Yes.
be living week to week in a motel?
2 things is, one, their income has to be less than 80% of the median household income. Don't ask me what that number is, but that is the first part. The second part is that it has to have been caused due to COVID.
Well, they'd have to prove that in the
Yeah.
sense of
Yes.
paychecks or...
Yes.
And this team, when the phone call comes in, this team will, they know what to do, the questions to ask, they'll get the proper documentation, they'll find out who your landlord is or who you've got your utility bill with, and they'll do all the vetting for us, because there is an audit on this, and so we were a little nervous about that, but they did tell us that it will be audited, and so that way we're not embarrassed in any way. They take care of it, and all we're doing is the face, and people think that Rutherford County is helping them, and that's what we're doing.
And part of this administrative fee will be to pay Horn, but also we will have expenses to monitor the program.
Yeah,
I mean,
we wanna
it's
monitor
coming to
Horn.
us, and we have to ensure, it's almost like a subrecipient that
Sure.
to them, that we have to monitor and make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So honestly, I'm not for sure what all kind of costs that we will have. We'll have something. We're pulling an amendment together for tomorrow night, best we can
But
for now.
we've got someone in mind that can help us and monitor that, that has experience with this for a number of years. I won't divulge his name until tomorrow night. I've got to make a phone call to him and see if he'll accept.
No.
But,
Let's wait.
if he accepts, and once I say his name tomorrow night, you all know who that person is, and we'll feel comfortable with him keeping our eyes on them, making sure that everything is copacetic, and it's just a wonderful program, and we're blessed to be in Rutherford County.
So the intent, the first line, if anybody is watching and anybody asks, the first thing that people need to do is to file their taxes. File your 2020 taxes, get that done. That would, until we can get something out, that would be the thing they need to do. The intent is to pay the landlords. So you've got two different people. You've got to have the person who is rented to say, this is my event. You've got to have the renter, the landlord too. So we've got to have both pieces. All that documentation will be collected, all those forms collected by Horn, and it will be available to us. These funds are available for audit for 5 years, so we've got to have access to those records when the auditors come in. As the mayor said, 65% of the funds that we have to be committed by September. Everything paid out by December.
Yeah.
So it's quick.
Yeah, it came out as fast, but I think we're fortunate. Questions, Ryan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple of questions. I can see potential for impropriety here on several angles, from landlords to tenants, perhaps.
Oh, we've thought about that too. Landlord can say, yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah, they're still living in number 4, building 4A, or
So I can't stress enough
812.
on our end as
Sure.
representatives of the county to have someone or some team in place that represents our best interest to
Sure.
know that we're doing due diligence.
Right.
Yeah, well,
Even spot checks or, I mean, just a
Sure.
unbiased, not even with this company you're saying.
That's one of the, that is one of these, the policies, procedures we've got to have things in place to find that.
we got till 3/1 to launch this, so we've got
That's
a
right.
few short days to pull it all together, but
I guess what gives me comfort is that they're pulling it together for the state of Tennessee.
Sure,
for
and we're
everybody
piggybacking
else.
right there, sure.
So we're just, okay.
Is there a max per person or per landlord?
That, we do not know. I mean, I don't know if it's and I had told the mayor that I'm not sure at this point if it is so many months. It's 12 months.
it's 12 months. What I had read in the documentation was
12 months of coverage per individual if they have
Could
needs?
be, if
If they're affected by COVID for as long up to
Sure.
12 months?
I'm hesitating because I don't have my
understand
hands
it's
on
new.
it yet to
Okay.
say, are we doing a dollar amount or is it so many months of rent and that's it?
Okay. And so you're saying also that there is 10% allocated for
And for,
allowed.
of this amount,
in the grant itself?
In the
in the
grant.
grant. Now, the grant, $9,999,302. That's how much we got.
Okay.
That's it. Okay, so 10% can be used for administrative costs, our costs to implement this.
So there's no additional cost to the county?
Right.
No
It will
additional
be
cost.
paid by the county.
And Horn agreed. I have the email where she sent me or as a text, and she agreed to 4%.
And she knew the total amount of the grant when she approved?
That's correct.
Okay, 4%. Now, when this money is used into September, we have a surplus. We won't call it a surplus, but there is money left unexpended. What?
Goes back to the Treasury.
Goes back to Treasury
Okay,
to then divvy it out.
okay.
We don't
So
want
it
that.
behooves us to use as much as we can in
Yes,
a short
sir.
amount of time, certainly.
And anything, and when I said up to 10%, let's say we use 7. 3% can still go back in and be used to cover costs too. I mean, people's costs.
I'll entertain a motion.
Okay, is this to the motion, is it to, accept the grant or?
Well, that's the difficulty. We need the commission to accept the grant. It's an allocation. Accept us doing this. And then, I guess, for me, it's kind of like an emergency
It will be
to approve the contract.
So
for
do we need
Horn.
to send it to budget?
acceptance
into the
of the
commission.
grant and contracting with Horn. Needs to be all, at least in the same resolution, I would assume.
Yeah,
Or you
I
want
know, it's
separate?
kind of which comes first, chicken
Yeah.
or egg.
Well,
know.
let me just say this motion, you tell me if it's right. So I'll move that we send the budget a positive recommendation to accept the grant and authorize the mayor to sign whatever documents he needs.
Right.
Is that?
And do we need to put in there higher,
No more than 4%?
no more than 4% to be used here locally? We're going to use 4% for Horn, and then 4% for us to, it says,
I budgeted all the extra.
oh,
as
okay,
admin.
all right,
Oh.
all right.
Yeah,
You got that.
I get it. Laura, you got that? Okay.
Okay, I have a motion. Is there a second? Second. And a second. Commissioner Key. Call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cook? Yes. Commissioner Gammon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo? Commissioner Key?
Yes.
Commissioner Buchanan?
Yes.
Chairman Ketron?
Aye. So,
We've got a contract that Reba and I've gone through, and the mayor, and Ed's going to be looking at it tonight to send insurance-wise. And then we've got to send it to Hornell. That's got to be done. I'll probably have a draft for y'all tomorrow, but we'll still need to.
yeah, and when this thing, once we get all this
Not be ready till
done after the
next
commission, we'll make sure that each one of you will get that number, whatever the number is going to be that we call in, whatever we'll make sure that you have our email address, because constituents, people you run into in your district are going to hear about it. Once it hits the paper, then everybody's going to say, hey, where do I sign up? Well, here, you may always carry that in your pocket, for a few days, because it's going to be a rush. Everybody's going to want to get it. And so I would just say, carry that with you. Here's a telephone number. Put it on the back of your commissioner card. That'd be good. Reach out to your churches. You talk to your pastor. He might make an announcement. But like I say, we only have 9 months to get this obligated. Less than 9 months to get it obligated. And by the end of September, right?
Yes, sir. How, excuse me, how can the county, how can you, all of us show that, is there a quick video we could do to show that we care about our citizens, about the program? I don't know if it's.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, Ashley could do that.
Because some of those videos that I've seen are great, that show about COVID or something, but something really quick that says, hey, Rutherford County, we support you. We want to help you.
Sure.
And
we'll get that out, and she can.
I'd like to make sure that we have all the qualifications so that could be told, that people know right up front, do I or do I not?
Yeah.
Yeah, qualify.
But you're going to have people that's going to get distorted and say, knocking on your door or calling you going, I want some of that free money. Yeah, it'll be a rush, but we'll filter through it.
Federal, it's not, it's a grant, it's an allocation. It's like, here's your money. It's,
yeah, anything over
US Treasury.
200,000 population. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Anything else coming for us tonight? Hearing none, we'll see you tomorrow night.